good day. My name is Andy. I'm having a pretty damn good day, thank you. This is going to be quite a short one today. If you were watching the live last night, you'll know it cut out well before the end, so I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry about a few of my recent videos dropping out and going wrong. That's why I'm keeping this one short. I'm working on it, basically. I think part of the problem is my router. I think part of the problem is also just lack of an actual camera, rather than trying to sort of use my iPhone, which I'm using at this very moment. But there we go. I'm off into the land of Merlin again. I'm sort of in the land of Merlin already, but I'm going into Carmarthen, where you've been with me lots of times. And if you're new to the channel, guys, check out my previous videos about the land of Merlin, because that's where we are, and that really is what it's all about. But now, this is a question that keeps coming up quite often on the live videos and sometimes in the comments as well. And if you want to, ask me something or tell me something, leave me a comment in the comments down below there. Wow. These roads are really like tight and narrow, but never mind. We'll get out onto a main road now. I can concentrate more. Anything coming? No, here we go. Right. Yeah, this question keeps coming up about spirit guides. Lots of questions to ask about spirit guides, and it's a big subject, but people very often ask, how many spirit guides do I actually have? And I guess that varies for everyone, so it's a pretty good question. And obviously I can't answer it for everyone in a single video like this. But there are two kinds of spirit guides that absolutely everyone has. Let's just straighten that up a little bit. And we're off. Wow, it's a busy day on the roads today. World must be feeling like a safer place to lots of people, and that's no bad thing. And the spirit world is kind of a safe place as well, because everybody, absolutely every living human being, has a special spirit guide called a gatekeeper. Some people say a doorkeeper, but it's the same thing. We've all got one. And gatekeepers, doorkeepers, are very, very old souls who've lived this human life probably a very, very long time ago. And although there's no time in the spirit world, there's something. It takes them time to, they learn, basically. And in whatever way the spirit world has time, they are subject to that. And it takes a lot of experience, I suppose, rather than time on the clock. It's experience. And gatekeepers have to be very, very experienced spirit guides. And they know every trick in the book. They understand the dark as well. I don't like to talk too much about the dark. It exists, it's real, friends, and you've got to protect against it, absolutely, for sure you have. But I'd rather tell you how to protect against it than actually talk about what it is. Because I've just learned, it's something I've learned from other people around me, people who I've been very lucky to be taught by, who have been doing this a lot longer than I have. And I was blessed with some wonderful mentors when I first discovered I was a medium and started trying to do this work. And I noticed that they just won't talk about the dark if they can help it. They'll talk about the fact that it exists, but they won't actually talk about it. Because when you talk about the dark, you give it a certain amount of power. Helps it build its power up. And that's the worst thing you can do, really. But it's good to know that you can protect against it in lots of ways. Actually, yourself. Grounding, where you send your roots down into the earth. Protection, where you draw a protective bubble around yourself. Guardian angels are pretty good like that as well. And I guess they're another kind of spirit guide. People draw a line of distinction between spirit guides and angels, but they'll all help you. That's the bottom line, and that's what really matters. But a gatekeeper will be a very, very old soul who will be special to you and will work with you. But a lot like when we try to work with angels, it's important always to ask your gatekeeper for help, like every day, like maybe even more than once a day, maybe every single time you work. Just send a thought out to your gatekeeper and ask for protection. And the gatekeeper basically won't let anything in for you unless it's a valuable lesson. Nothing will get through that's going to interfere in any way with the good that you're trying to do as a light worker. Gatekeepers tend to show some evidence of having lived a very long time ago in terms of human history. Quite a lot of people have a Roman soldier, probably a centurion, a high-ranking Roman soldier, as a gatekeeper. And that means that not only will we hold them in high regard and respect them for their great knowledge, but they'll be held in high regard in the spirit world as well. And it's their job really to facilitate what mediums do, to facilitate what light workers do. But it's not just, light workers, mediums, people who actually do this work that have a gatekeeper. It's everyone. And I've been told in meditation that animals have gatekeepers as well. I don't know how the animals would know or how the animals would ask the gatekeeper for protection, but I believe they have them. Some people teach that they don't, and I respect those people's point of view for sure. The most recent person who told me that was a very wise, very elderly Native American gentleman. Said that, animals have their own spirit realm and their own spiritual arrangements, as it were. And I'm not going to go against that. Native American wisdom is absolutely superb. But it seems to me that animals have some kind of gatekeeper. But, to cut to the chase, we've all got them as people. We've all got a gatekeeper. And it's always worth asking that gatekeeper to protect you. And if there's someone you'd rather not get involved with in this world, or maybe a spirit guide that you're not comfortable working with, then you can ask your gatekeeper for protection from that person, from that entity. You can ask the gatekeeper to bring some blessings on your house so that the dark can't get in there. And this is where it kind of blends in with what the angels do. Because if you really want to protect your house, it's good to ask for an angel to be stationed at each corner of your house. And that will work, really will. So there's gatekeepers, and there's a very brief mention of angels. And angels are amazing. I feel I should talk more about angels. It's just that they're so amazing that all you've really got to do is mention them and believe in them and ask them to help you. And it's that simple. It's done. So that's not a problem. But then, to the question that we started with here, how many spirit guides does somebody have? That can vary a lot. Certainly if you're a medium or a tarot or oracle reader or a healer, then you will have a special guide for that. But as time goes on, they build up, they increase. I was guided onto the path of being a spiritualist medium. That's really what I'm all about. And that came through reading the tarot in the early days. And so I still work with the tarot a lot when I do that. That's just been my path, you know. Paths wind around, and everyone's on a slightly different path. Sometimes our paths cross and we walk together for a time. Sometimes we walk together for a long time. But we're all on slightly different paths. And for that reason, we have a specific spirit guide who'll walk with us along that path. And I had one guide in particular when I began as a medium. There are now several guides, but that one guide I would say was my main guide, until another guide came in about 2 years ago now, who has a knack for fortune telling on the fly, you could say. And she is very good, and she works with me when I do the live videos. She works with me all the time, but she's a great help with the live videos. She lived a life where she was a Romany fortune teller, and she's used to the idea of kind of lots of people coming in and asking questions one after the other. So she is wonderful, she's great. But there have been others, you know. I was a musician. I suppose I still am in my heart and soul, but I had a stroke quite a long time ago, and it's made it rather difficult for me to play instruments, but I was certainly aware of spirit guides working with me and helping me when I was a church organist and a cathedral organist many years ago. And I've had dreams where I've met those guides. They've been absolutely amazing, and I've met them in meditation. So if you see what I'm driving at, just like there's different strokes for different folks, there's different strokes for the same folk. As you go through life, it changes, and there'll always be a guiding light there for you. So those are my guides as a medium. I've also been involved in healing. I'm Reiki qualified, and I've done the spiritualist church version of healing, which is not that different to Reiki, but there are different guides associated with it. And apparently behind the scenes it works in a different way, but it's all healing, it's all good. And I, like any Reikiist, have healing guides. Reiki guides, spiritual healing guides, whatever you want to call them. And there is certainly more than one. And I had the privilege of meeting one of them when she was alive in this life. It was just after I found out I was a medium. And she was discovering mediumistic gifts as well. But she'd been on the Reiki path a long time, and that was her vocation. She was called Reiki Jo. Her name was Josie. She's a lovely, lovely soul. And I was going to go up and meet her. She lived a few hundred miles away, but I was going to go up and meet her. We were going to work together. And then, sadly, very suddenly, she had a massive brain hemorrhage and was in intensive care for a very short time, and then she passed away. So, you know, I never got to meet her in this life. I met her online, that's how I got to know her. On a website where people were learning mediumship, including us. But yeah, she passed, you know, her worldly life came to an end. And she's come through as a healing guide several times since. I was taking an online class with her, and very often get a sign from that relates to that last class that she took just before she passed. And so now, if you see what I mean, we sort of gather guides as we go along this path of life. More come in. And whenever you help someone as a light worker, their loved ones in the spirit guide, in the spirit world, and their spirit guides as well, will appreciate the help that you've given, and they will then want to help you. So they may not be what you actually call spirit guides, but they're spirit people, and they're guiding you. So what else are you going to call them? And I want to tell you about one other thing that happened to me. Wonderful thing, really. And I don't want to make too much of this, because it is a wonderful gift that I was given. But I've never believed it was like special treatment for me and I was getting some special privilege that no one else can have. I don't think it works like that. I think spirit are very even-handed. But this was one way that they wanted me to work. And I was in meditation one day, and I felt myself going higher and higher. And I was taken up to, suppose you'd call it the highest realms. I wasn't allowed into the highest realms. You'd have to, be in the spirit world yourself and go through many stages of development as a soul before you can get into the highest realms. But I was sort of taken up that way, and I saw the way in, which was wonderful. But then quite suddenly, it was as if I was floating in the vaulted roof of a giant English-style cathedral. Maybe that's just the way they showed me it, I don't know, but that's what it looked like to me. And this cathedral roof that I was floating in went off in every direction, and it was never ending. There was no end to it. You couldn't see like an end wall or a window at the end of it or anything. It was very light, but I was just there. And there were never-ending people, millions of people, just kind of floating there in the air. Showing to me as people, but obviously they were souls. And they were sort of grouped in squares, and each square was seamless with the next square. But in each square there was an angel at each corner of the square. And I was told that as a medium, I would be able to connect with anyone who'd ever lived. Anybody who'd ever lived the worldly life would work with me if I needed them to. And I'll come back to it and say, this wasn't a big special privilege for me. This is something that's given to mediums. It was the way they showed me to understand it. Mediums are actually given this. And that's what enables us to do readings for other people and to connect with people in the spirit world for whoever it is that really needs to connect. The only conditions for that connection is that the person really needs to hear from that soul in the spirit world. And if you've ever loved someone and lost someone, then that's a legitimate need. And it's a different end of mediumship from what I would say is really more in the psychic realm. Although the two do go together, psychic and mediumship, certainly. But like if someone wants to know who are they going to meet, who are they going to marry, what colour hair will they have, what sort of person will they be, that's very much on the psychic level, and it relates to what goes on in this world, how it is in this world. But to actually work with people's deceased loved ones, that was how I was shown the connection that I have. So if you're on the path to mediumship, friends, be sure that, you will at some point be able to work with everyone who's ever lived. And that's just an unlimited number. So I hope that answers some questions about spirit guides and how many you've got. It's unlimited. But do bear in mind there are one or two special ones in the mix. Certainly your gatekeeper. And if you are connecting with the afterlife, then certainly there are others who specialise in that. And you will definitely have at least one guide in the spirit realms. Might be a Native American, they make wonderful guides. Doesn't have to be. And with time you'll get to know them. That's another question that comes up. What is my guide's name? Doesn't matter, you'll get to know them in time, for sure you will. Anyway guys, look, I know you love these driving videos, but something is going wrong with them at the moment and I can't figure out what it is. I'm going into town to get some new equipment, going to pick up a new router, which I think might be the problem. And I'm going to try and pick up a decent camera that will make a video of a big spread of cards on a table rather than me just holding the cards up, because that's the camera side of that has been going wrong too, and I do want to keep it up. But for now guys, I'm not going to edit lots and lots of clips together. We'll do a quick clip of the driving and then I'm going to bring this one to a close. But guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Have a wonderful time ahead. Do leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this. And if you want to ask questions, feel free in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up please if you've enjoyed this one. Drop a thumbs up on it. Drop a like on it. And why not subscribe? Why not? There are more videos coming up all the time. Helps the channel no end. And I will see you again in a future video. But for now, let's just see if we can edit in a few shots of the road ahead, which is rather beautiful. So with that, friends, be good to each other. See you soon in a future video. Love and light to you, and blessings and peace.